Oh. Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa McEntee, and I am here today to go over Google Sheets with you. Google Sheets is a program that is similar to Microsoft Excel. It is an online version, as all Google apps are, so that means that you have the same abilities to share and collaborate with other people, and everything is done in real time. All updates are made. So this is a great way to share information, especially data, so that it's not, gone are the days where we had to email someone a copy of a spreadsheet, have them make their changes, send it back to us, and have multiple files going back and forth, or versions of the same file going back and forth. Now we have the ability to work collaboratively on the same documentation. So what I'd like to show you today is I'm going to go over the basics. I'll go over all of the menu bars. I'll go over formatting, and I will show you how to set up a chart. I'll review the chart types with you. I'll show you how to insert pictures and commands, and I'll also go over add-ons. And before I lose any of the math teachers out there, I do want to show you one of the add-ons first, because this may be a way that you are able to use Google Sheets with your students for assessment and even for practice, and it's through one of the add-ons. So I'm going to go up here to add-ons in my menu, and for anyone who's not a math teacher, don't worry about it. I am going to continue with the basics as I told you about before. I just want to show this real quick. I selected the add-on. I went to Get Add-ons down here and added this one in. It's called GMath for Sheets. And if I select Create Math Expressions, I get an extra menu over here that gives me the options of putting in these different pieces. So we're able to select the characters that we need to create a formula, and then it's going to preview it for us there, and then we can insert it. So when I insert it, you are going to see that this blue box right here, it's going to insert that formula. So I'm going to select Insert, and there we go. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult, it's a little bit grainy, but I think it's so much better than having to, take snapshots and pictures and add things in. And if I just copy this and bring this over to a new sheet, I'm going to just open up a new sheet so it's easier for you to see. Okay, if I paste that into there, sorry about that. I actually just wanted to make this a little bit bigger, so I'm going to come down, and there you go. So you can resize this because it's basically inserting it as an image. So you can resize it by just moving in the columns. And so you could basically put all of your expressions and equations here and have students answer in the next column as part of an exam. So that is just a quick look at the Gmetrics add-on, Math for Sheets add-on in Google Sheets. Now let's go back to the rest of our lesson. So as you can see here, what I've just done is I created a little table for myself with standards and lesson notes so that I can indicate the standards and the descriptions of everything that I'm going to go over. So these happen to be the new technology standards 8.1. That are being implemented this year, so that students get used to using digital tools to research and evaluate. So I just added them in there. You can choose to do something like that for your records as you start to build your online assessments. I think it would be really important to kind of organize things this way so you can easily cite it in your lesson plans, because doing something like this now kind of gives you a springboard for your assignments down the road. So that's how you would create something like that there. I just put the standard, the indicator, and the description, and then we would just simply type in. If this one is a Common Core standard, I would put that in there too. Okay, so I am going to show you now very quickly this row up here, just show you some of the different options that you have for formatting, and then I'm going to show you an example of an assignment. Okay, so these are very standard, this first row. We have print, undo, and redo, and then paint format if you chose to use that. This is going to format your number as currency. Okay, so all I did was put the number in. So I'll put in the number 12, and I click on the dollar sign, and it's going to automatically format it as currency by putting in the proper decimal point, place value, and also the dollar sign. So it's nice and quick and easy. Here's another example of the percent. So we're going to format as a percent, and that put that in as 900%. Again, if I did, then that's 9%. Okay, so very quickly and easily ways to format as currency and format as percent. And these are tools that students can use to check their answers, and they can use to also arrive at the answer. One of the important things that we have to remember is that it's crucial that students understand the concepts, but it's also crucial that students understand how to use technology tools to work to their advantage to arrive at the right answer. You know, the calculations, everything that they're going to learn is important, but they also need to develop that technology skill where they are able to find a way to get the answers that they're looking for and produce that for whether it be, you know, the teacher, the viewer, the audience, the boss, the manager, whoever. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit further, and this is going to decrease decimal points. So I just click on that, and it simply decreases, and this would obviously increase. There are more number formats here, so you can do you know, specific numbers, specific finances, or specific types of currency, date and time, and there are even more currencies and date and time formats available. I definitely encourage anyone who's exploring other topics, other communities, other forms of currency to definitely explore this as part of a student project for more currencies, because it's going to show you the currencies in all different areas across the world. And they can even you know, relate that to US currency. Okay, so the next thing I would like to show you, these are just very basic formatting pieces, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. Sorry about all these emails coming in. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these. This is the area where you can change the font, you can change the size, bold, italicize, strike through, change the text color. So we can change this to red, and then anything I type in here is going to be red. And here we can choose to change a fill color. I'll say it a lot on these videos. I love to color code things. It makes things easier for me to pinpoint and find easily. So that is a tool that I use very often, the fill tool. Another thing that I use very often is just something that I prefer to do. Do you notice how we have these grid lines here, and they're like a light shade of gray, but then over here we have black lines that are you know, heavily outlined. I tend to like to outline all of the work that I'm doing so that the grid lines print out, and they print out nice and bold to separate the information visually. So what I would do is take my mouse, and I'm going to click and highlight and drag, and then let go of the button on my mouse or trackpad, and that's going to highlight that whole area. And then I just simply go up here and I choose the type of border I want, This case, I definitely want all borders, so I'm going to click on it and see how it shades all those in a darker black. So visually for me, that helps me, and that's something I definitely keep in mind about using these tools with students. It's not just about how we're comfortable with the technology, but it's about what tricks work for students as well, as far as color coding, keeping information separate using grid lines and borders and things of that nature. So just keep that in mind too as you're planning your lessons, and give students the freedom to be able to use these tools the way they really need to, or what works best for them. Again, alignment, very simple, same as in Word and Google Docs and everything else. This one is interesting. So I had this is how you're going to move the edge of a column. Okay, so this column is a little bit wider than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to click once I hover over. Watch how my mouse changes. Right now I have the pointer, so I can click and select something. When I have the ability to click and grab, I will see the hand on the cursor, and I can click and grab. And when I get in between the row headers, or the column headers, I will see this little black arrow, and I want to click and drag in or out, and that's going to change the size of the margin. So click and drag in. Now my margin ends there, but this is a problem for me because this entire line goes and then go up to this icon text wrapping and select for it to wrap around. And what that's going to do is it's going to put all of that text into the same block. So I click on that and see how it moved everything over, and now it's right here in this block. So you'll want to do that in any case where you can't fit the margin all the way out, in any case that you have overlap. A real quick trick to take care of that so you don't have to do that all the time, because look, watch, if I continued clicking, typing here, same thing happened, right? And I'd have to go and click here, or I can just click on the column header, which will have letters. All of the column headers have letters. So we're going to click on C, see how it highlighted the whole entire column. And now I'm just going to come up here to text wrapping, choose wrap around, and now that's going to apply to everything here. You can do the same thing with any of the rows. By clicking on the numbers, you're going to highlight that same row and everything will apply to that row. For example, if I wanted to make this row pink, I can come up here and select pink. And now this is going to stretch all the way across for every single cell in that row. Same thing if I click on, let's say, column F. I click on the column. This is going to apply to every single column. I'm going to click and make this one, let's see, green. And see what that did. The last action is going to override anything that's in its way. So since this cell was shared between the two, I can just copy now and paste, and now we have a nice happy medium. Okay, last couple of things here. This is where you can insert a link if you wanted to link out to a different website. This is where you can insert a comment, and I will show you that in a few minutes. And this is where you can insert a chart. And this is where you can filter so that you can sort through your data easily. And I will definitely show you that a little bit in a little bit. This last one is the function icon, and it gives you the ability to put in sums, averages, counts. There's a really a pretty intensive list if you go to more functions. And this shows you all of the different types of functions that we can put in. So we have many different types of arrays. different types of database, date. So this is a really, really important resource. I know I'm going quickly through it, but there are hundreds of different types of values that you can put in to try to sort through data. So I'm actually going to copy this link, and I'll go back here and show you how to insert it. So I'll write function list, and I'll come over here, click on the insert link, and now I will add that in and type in okay, and now you see that this is hyperlinked to that particular website, and we are good to go. Okay, so this menu bar up here, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of the icons that you have here as quick icons are also going to be available through here as well. So I'll go over those later as we need them. First thing, and probably most important that I didn't do yet, is to add a title to my spreadsheet. So I am going to click on the untitled spreadsheet and give it a name. Okay, so this is going to be my Google Sheet intro with book assignment. We have in Excel or in Google Sheets, there are tabs down at the bottom that are going to indicate a different sheet. So all of these sheets together, this one, and this one, are all considered part of a workbook, but the sheets separately are on each of these tabs. So let me show you how to add a tab. So in case I wanted to have another sheet, I'm going to go to the plus sign, add sheet, and now I want to rename it. So I'm going to hold down the control key and click and choose rename. And this is going to be okay. Now, I don't want that in that order. So what I'll do is I'll click on the tab, pull it over, and put it in the right area. So I want that to be right there. Okay. Again, if you want to rename something, hold down the control key on your Mac, click, and choose rename. You can also choose to duplicate, which I think is a really, really helpful tool, or you can copy it to another worksheet or another workbook. I like duplicate because if I need data again on the same sheet, I can just duplicate it and add it to another sheet. The last thing I'm going to show you down at the bottom is a list of all sheets. So sometimes, you know, you might have a lot of tabs or a lot of sheets within the one workbook. So this is just the list view, so you don't have to click on the tabs down at the bottom. There's usually, you know, more than one way to arrive at any individual task when you're using the computer and most applications. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this. This is just an introductory assignment. I had students write down, keep track of the number of books that they read per month. And then what I had the students do is to record everything and then add in the total number of books that they read and then insert a chart. And that is what I'm going to recreate with you right now so you get a sense of how to do it. So I am going to start on this tab down here at the bottom, but just for the sake of time, I am actually going to highlight all of these fields except for the total. So I'm just going to highlight the data that I need. So I highlighted, I chose Command C on my MacBook, or you can go to Edit, Copy, and I'm going to go to the new sheet that I want, and I'm in the first cell, and I'm going to Command V, or edit paste, and there's all my data. Okay, I want to make this entire first row bold. So instead of going individually and making everything bold, what I'll do is click on the row header, because remember, when I click on the row header or the column header, everything that is highlighted is going to, whatever action I take next is going to apply to this entire area, highlighted area. So I'm going to select bold, and there we go. Everything is now bolded, nice, quick, and easy. Now again, before, remember I showed you how to change the size of the margins? Well, I want to make this a little bit more compact, and I could go through one by one by one, but that would take me too long. So what I'm going to do is, again, click and highlight the row, the column headers, excuse me, and then I'm just going to resize one to the width that I want, and everything will follow suit. So now we have all individually even columns created in one quick action. Okay, the last step of the data in the chart was to total all of these. Now you can obviously have students count these. I would have students do the math, especially your younger students who are still working on their addition, and older students, just to make sure they still got it. But I would also encourage everyone to teach students how to do this too, because these formulas are important, and when they get into the workplace, guaranteed somebody is going to need them to sort data, filter data, and one of the things that I hear most from people is that, including myself, is that there's so much to know about Excel, and we really don't have really don't know everything that we can possibly do with it. So I'm teaching you what I do know, but there's definitely a lot more to learn. So make sure students are using things like this. Okay, so this formula that I'm going to put in here is going to take we're going to take all of this information and create a sum or a total. So I'm going to select the equal sign. All of your functions have to begin with an equal sign. So we're going to select equal. I'm going to write sum in capital letters. Then I choose the parentheses and stop there, because now I want to highlight everything that's going to go within the parentheses. So I want the sum of all of these things. I'm going to close the parentheses and then hit return. Okay, 75. Now I could do the same thing for this one and the next one and the next one. However, that would take much too long. So now what I'll do is I'll click on the first one, and remember, this one's 66. So I did that one by hand. I just want you to see that this is still going to be the same answer once I do it a different way. I could have chosen to just do the first one, click in the box, in the cell, I'm sorry, so that it's highlighted in blue, and then you see this little blue square right in the lower right-hand corner. This is called the fill handle. And see how my cursor changes as I hover over that square? It turns into a skinny plus sign or a thin plus sign. I'm going to click and pull down, and you see those dotted lines going cell by cell, taking that formula and plugging it right in. And now I'm going to let go and see that this number is still 66. We overwrote this column with the formula by using the cell drag down. So that makes it nice and quick and easy for us to be able to fill in. So again, that's the fill handle. Now I did that. I filled in with the formula. You can see the formula here. When I click in this box, you can see the formula here. Just make sure you hit return after that. Another thing I can do with the fill handle, and this doesn't really necessarily apply to this exact assignment, but I just want to show it to you anyway because it it's helped me a lot. When I have to number things, I usually only do 1, 2, and 3, and then I highlight the 1, 2, and 3. I choose the fill handle, and it just continues counting up for me. So I don't have to stop and type in all of the numbers. And you can do the same thing by if you just did, 2, 4, 6. It will then skip count for you. And the interesting about that thing is that even though, I didn't intend for it to be, since I had put it in this number in the first row, it made it bold, and then it even added that pattern to the first number in the sequence, and also skip counted by 2. So that's just another little couple little quick tricks to help you when you're working with Google Sheets. And that's also stuff that students should know. Now, what we would like to do is we need to take our data and we need to put it into a chart. So I am going to take the names of the students who are involved. Okay. Now I will take the total number of books everyone read. Sorry. Okay, see what I just did there? I copied and I pasted, but I didn't choose the right one. If you've entered a formula, like I've entered here and here, all of these have a formula in them. If I go to highlight that, this is looking for it's looking for numbers that don't exist in this because it didn't copy that over. What I should have done is choose paste special, values only, and there we go. Now we have just the values and not the formula itself. Okay, let me make that black so it's a little easier to see. Okay, now we're going to create our chart. So we're going to highlight, pull down, highlight all of our information, go to Insert, Chart, and now we see our different options. So Google is automatically going to give you recommendations or give your students recommendations of the types of graphs that they could choose. But what I'd encourage you to do is have students explore the different types of graphs. Use this as you're going through any type of data collection, data analysis. It's really good for students to take a look at the different ways that it can be represented and to figure out what is the most important way to share it, or what's the most beneficial way to share it out with other people. Then you can also choose the chart types, and it will let you know all of the different chart types we have available. So let's just say I'm going to leave it here. You can even customize too if you chose to. You can customize the title. The title of this is obviously not that. It's number of books this school year. Okay. I think I want that in red. You can choose where the legend is going to go. And you can choose like a background color. So let's say we put in a nice gray. All right. And that looks good. So I'm going to hit insert, and now it's in here in my document, but it's right over my data, and I don't want that. So what I have to do is I have to look and make sure that these blue squares are around the perimeter, because that means that this is selected. I'm going to click and pull and drag where I want it to go, and then just simply drop it in. Now remember, if once I click out and I am in a different cell and a different cell is highlighted, I can click and this isn't going to go anywhere. I have to click, make sure that I see these boxes, and then I can move it around. Okay, I'm going to put it back in there. So you have a couple of options here. You can click and you can choose to delete the chart. I'm sorry. You can copy it. You can move it to another sheet. There are a lot of different options. You can once you click in the field where the data is, you can make other adjustments, such as changing the background color. And I would definitely encourage students to try to make their charts visually appealing to themselves, to their viewer, so that it connects with the audience that they're trying to explain their data to. Just one more thing here, if you control and click, this then gives you options to change the title, legend, axis, series, but you can also change the chart. So this is going to show you what other options would look like after the chart's already been created. So again, you hold down the control key on your MacBook and you click on your mouse. You go to change chart, and we have a lot of different options. Okay. So let me change this back to a different type of chart. I would definitely have students, you know, as I said before, look at the different types of charts and see which one makes most sense and will best display the information that they have. Okay. So that is how to create a chart. Just want to give you, I think we're running over just a bit, so if you bear with me for one more minute, I will show you something else that you can do. We went over the file, the edit, the view, insert. I want to show you where you can insert an image if you wanted to. So I can click on the word image. We have lots of different options, but I'm going to choose something from the computer that I already have saved. We're going to actually put in a Google Sheets picture or graphic, and I'll add that in. And look at how oversized it is. I might want to adjust the size of my columns in order to make it fit so that it looks neat. It's up to you. You may want to add things in there like that. You may not. I had, you know, once I did a lesson with students where we calculated all of the different types of, you know, fat and calories and salt that was in across different types of fast food meals, and then they tried to gauge which would be the most healthy meal for them, and they definitely enjoyed using the image builder so that they can put in pictures of, you know, Burger King food or McDonald's food, you know, anything to get the students excited and engaged in the lesson is definitely worth it, in my opinion. So we also have the ability to add in comments. So if you watch the Google Docs Writing with Feedback episode that I did yesterday, you will recognize this. So I want to look here, and I want to take a look at, I'm going to go up to my format up here and say that I'm going to put this on Debbie, and I want to enter in a comment. So I'm going to insert comment, and I will say, I think data is off. Please check and adjust. Okay, because all the students were given the data, but I think that perhaps this student entered the data in wrong here somewhere. This was in fact supposed to be a 10 because I know she definitely read more books than that, and she came in the lowest out of everyone. So how does that student know? Once I clicked off of that comment, it's gone. I don't see it, but if I look very closely, there is this little tiny yellow corner highlighted, and once I hover over that, it will display the comment. I also know the number of comments by the numbers over here. So once I click on this field, I click on the sheet, I'm sorry, and then I hover over the comment, you can see that there's a comment there. Let's go to this one here, and we'll insert a comment. There's my comment. And now you see that we have 2 comments. So the more comments you have, the number is going to increase here, and as students hover over it, they'll be able to see the number of comments. So this is a great way to give students feedback too, digitally. It's a great source for collaboration. I would, I encourage you to look at ways that students can work on researching databases on the internet, valuable resources. If you took a look at, let me see here. If you took a look at the beginning of the video, I showed you that there were this add-on for GMath for Sheets that will help you create math expressions. I would definitely encourage the teachers at the high school level to look into this, because I think this is going to answer a lot of the limitations that we had with Google Sheets before. But there are additional add-ons that you can add in and see if they help you. So I'm going to go to add-ons, scroll down to get add-ons. And now this is going to give you a listing of anything that is compatible with Excel that can potentially, help make life a little bit easier. Let's say remove duplicates, schedule generators, different types of fonts, remove blank rows. There's a lot of scripts that people out there have created and put up here for free. This is a QR code generator, which I think is awesome. I can't wait to start using that. So let's say, for example, I wanted to add in, let's see, sort by color. I'm going to click on this because we know I like to color code everything, for those of you that have been watching some of these episodes. And again, it's free. I just click select. It wants to, be able to interact with it. And now I can, sort by color, or I can sort by font color. Oh, now that reminds me. Sorry, I forgot this before. Hope you guys didn't tune out yet. Very important thing to be able to do is to take data and be able to sort it. So I am just going to copy this to a new page just to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to copy this. One very important feature, probably one of the most important features of Excel or Google Sheets, is the ability to filter and sort. So I want to filter everything in these columns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the 1 row, and then I am going to go up to the filter, and I click on this, and you'll notice that as the filter turns on, now we have a drop-down menu on at the top of each of these lists, or on the top of each of these columns. So what I want to do right now is let's say I want to sort the students in alphabetical order, sort A to Z. Now it's sorting every single one of these columns. So, Dan's information is not mixed up with anyone else because I filtered all the way across. All these are going to sort correctly by alphabetically, because I chose that. I can also sort Z to A, and then I would have the students at the end of the alphabet first. I can sort high to low. I can sort low to high. I can also choose to sort only specific things. So let's say, for example, I want to clear all of these. I'm going to clear all of them, and I just want to see how many students had something more than 10 in July. And we can see that Dan and Sarah had more than 10 in June. So this is a way to show students how to sort through their information so that they can find things easily. And that's it. I'm sorry I went over a little bit today. I'll probably go back later on and just maybe in another couple of weeks, go back in and try to show you a few more tricks with Excel. But I do thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a great summer. Looking forward to seeing everyone in September. And I will be back tomorrow with another episode. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.